There's about 100% chance that you have heard of Dogecoin. Maybe it's the reason that got you to crypto in the first place. So how is Dogecoin chart is doing? That's what we'll be discussing today. So stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is King, your host, and today's video is for pure educational purposes. If it's your first time in that channel, please consider subscribing and smashing the like button. The more you do this, the more you'll help me keep providing you with this content. Now, if you're new into trading and you don't know where to start, you can consider joining my Telegram channel, where I provide exclusive trading setups for those that are new into the crypto and don't know how to trade yet. This will help you get your feet into the game. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. I'll leave the links for you below. And now, let's go to the charts. So since it's the first time I do a Dogecoin video, I want to go back in history and see what exactly happened with Dogecoin this year. Now, those of you who have been following me for a while know well that I use history so much to try and predict what's gonna come next. Now, this is Dogecoin's daily chart, and the most important thing to notice over here is that Dogecoin have always, at least on this cycle, have always tried to mirror the corrections every time it went through a correction. In other words, after starting the uptrend this year, this was the beginning of 2021 over here. So we had an impulse, another correction, and then an impulse, then a correction, and we are still in this second correction. So in total we had 4 waves. But if we look closely at the corrective waves, the one that happened over this period from the beginning of February to the beginning of April, and the one that we're going through right now, which started around the beginning of May, and it is still ongoing to this moment, there are a few things to highlight over here. The first and the most important thing is that Dogecoin have done a 3-wave corrective pattern at each one of its 2 corrections. Now, in the first correction, it has, after it reached the peak, this was around 8 cents, it have done an impulse down, a small corrective wave that you can see over here, and then another impulse down. Now, if we take a look at the second corrective pattern, we will see the exact same thing. Now, yeah, some of you will see that it's on a bigger scale, because eventually after the price started increasing and the volume started becoming more and more, so the movement is much bigger than what it used to be before. And this is a logarithmic chart, so definitely it's gonna have some differences. However, if we look at it from a pattern perspective, we'll find the exact same movement that it has done in its first correction here. So the price have gone down first, and then it had this 1, 2, 3 corrective wave. This was the middle of the correction, and then we had another impulse down. Now, the next thing to highlight is the period that comes after the correction was complete in each one of these 2 corrections, which is this one in the first correction and this period in the second correction. While these 2 periods are not identical, you can see a lot of similarities in both of them. Because after the price have hit a rock bottom here in the 23rd of Feb, it had a small rally, and then a little bit of consolidation, then a second rally, and started forming what looked like a flag back then, which is usually a sign that we are going to go up. But instead of going up, the price has gone down again. Now, coming to the second correction, after the correction was complete, we started going up. We had a little bit of sideways movement, and then going up again, and we started forming also some kind of flag. But instead of continuing up, we had a drop down. So this piece over here is the exact match of this piece. This flag is the exact match of this piece over here, and this drop is the exact match of this downwards movement. Now, as I told you earlier, they are not 100% identical, but they have a lot of similarities. Now, why is this important? Why am I telling you this? The reason behind this is, if we understand how the price has acted before, we can somehow form an opinion or a vision about what's the price gonna do next from this point onwards. So after this drop here, the price went on a sideways movement, and then it had a breakout, which was this candle. It formed a higher low, and then it formed what looked like a flag, and then it continued trending up from there. Now we are exactly around this area over here. So this is the sideways movement. If this tells us something, it says that most likely we should expect a breakout candle at some point in the coming days or maybe couple of weeks. However, there is still a chance that the sideways movement over here is not yet complete, and it might continue going down further for a little while before breaking up. And we can see this clearly in the next chart, which is the daily chart as well, but this focuses on the current piece. So if we go back to the logarithmic chart, this is the exact part where we stand right now, but I want to look at it as a regular chart only. So this is the sideways movement that I was just talking about, and based on the historical move, the logic is telling us if Dogecoin is going to repeat the exact same scenario that it did in the first correction, we should get a breakout here first. However, because we don't have that breakout yet, we need to be open to the possibility that the price might go down from here a little bit. It's not gonna go by so much. And the question that comes to mind here, if the price goes down at this point, how far is it going to go? Now, as you can see in this chart, I have plotted the Fibonacci retracement level, and the first highlight is that the price, at least as of this point, is never, no matter how far it goes down, is never going to go below 16 cents, because this stands exactly at the 0.786 Fibonacci level, and this level have been tested 3 times so far, and it has proven to be a strong resistance. So this was the first test around this area here, this was the second test, and this was the third test, and at each and every time it has stood strong and the price pushed further from there until the overall pullback was finished and we started going in an uptrend again. So currently we are in an uptrend. So even if we go all the way to this point, we are still in an uptrend because we haven't formed a lower low yet. That will only be invalidated if the price go below these 2 points, which is not likely to happen. The other important factor that we have over here is this dotted line, which is the trend line that has been defining the uptrend so far. And this is also another strong support for the price, because it started over here at the beginning of this year. It was tested once by the end of the first correction, and it has not been tested twice since then. So for the sake of argument, if the overall correction, the second correction of Dogecoin, is gonna exactly mirror what happened over here, so we can say that the price has to go down and test the trend line as it did over here before continuing the trend up from this point onwards. So it's very important to stay open to this possibility. However, the drop is not such a big drop that you really need to be worried about, and this whole scenario might not even happen at all. So after we continue going on the sideways movement, we might get our breakout candle at any point over here and continue going up. But as I said to you, it's important to stay open for possibilities. Now this leads us to the next question. As soon as Dogecoin breakout happens, how far are we going to go from there? And that's why we will move to the next chart to answer this question. Now, this is the same exact chart that we started with at the beginning of this video. However, as you can see over here, I have analyzed all the waves that happened in this cycle. And it is clear to me that Dogecoin is in a 5-wave structure, which includes 5 waves. 3 of them are impulses to the upside and 2 of them are corrections. So the first wave started by the beginning of this cycle, and then we got the first correction, which we talked about earlier, and then the second wave that broke out, and the second correction, and now we are starting the 5th and the last wave. So if this cycle is gonna end sometime by the end of this year, this is going to be the last impulse before the overall market starts correcting itself. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you would know that I am not too much into predictions, but I like to discuss what the logic is saying. And usually, to try to predict what are the next moves, what I do is that I look at the history and try to copy the exact same pieces and compare them to whatever is happening at the moment. And that's exactly what we're going to do to try to guess how Dogecoin is going to move next based on the earlier explanation. So if this sideways movement is the exact sideways movement that we had over here before the breakout, so technically speaking, from this point onwards, if we don't drop down further, we are going to get an impulse that looks like something like this. So let us try to mirror this impulse and plot it around this area. And there you have it. So if we end up getting a similar impulse to the third wave of the overall structure, we're gonna get something like that. Of course, it's not going to be identical. Like, it's not gonna go exactly candle by candle as this one has went. But this can give us some kind of idea about how far we could go next. So if the price ends up doing the same exact movement, we could see Dogecoin at around $3 by the end of this cycle, by sometime in November or December. And to be honest with you, because of all the noise and the media talks that have been happening around Dogecoin, it will not be surprising if Dogecoin goes 1,000% from here or at 1,200%. Because there is so much noise about it, everybody is rushing into buying Dogecoin as if it's the thing that's going to make them the next millionaire. It's not necessarily to happen, of course. If you've been in the field for a while, you know that this is not the case. However, we can look at this scenario and take it as a benchmark. So this is the most logical scenario that we should be expecting. Of course, this is not an advice, this is not a confirmation. I'm not telling you that this is what you should exactly expect. You have to do your own research and trade with money that you can afford to lose. But as of now, the chart is telling us that this is the most logical scenario. Now tell me, what about you? What do you think? Do you think that Dogecoin is going to hit $3 by the end of this year, or are you more optimistic? You think it might go to $10, or you believe it's gonna crash down? Let me know your opinion. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And again, if you're new into trading and you don't know where to start yet, consider joining my Telegram group, because I provide exclusive trading setups, and this can help the newbies so much. So if you're new into trading and you don't know what to buy and where are you going to buy it, what coins are you going to choose, this will save you time and effort, and at least will put you on the right track and prevent the majority of the wrong decisions that you might make along the way before you get to learn this field and start trading on your own. This was it for today, and until the next video, stay safe and see you later.